custodian of this cultural landscape, our people and family have inherited the role of managing these lands until the next generation feels they are ready to take on this important responsibility for themselves. We lived on the beach amongst the burner, wanna, peppermint trees, drawing gabba, water from our homemade well. We fished on the sea for narlang heron, gorjagat, bay snapper, ngari salmon. We dove for coral, crabs and bida, squid. We thought we were just playing while our parents were at work and our grandparents and older sisters would keep watch, but really we were learning our traditions, and everything we caught we ate. I guess that's where we learned to take only what we could eat, and the grannies were very strict on taking fish, marron or crab with nuruk, eggs. We were told that if we took the budja, pregnant fish, there would be no more next time. It was the same when hunting for narran or kumu, possum or yonga, kangaroo. We only took what was around, and if we had to go hungry, there was always tomorrow. At the back of our place was a nyugat swamp. We would hunt and gather all day along. It was full of nurun, ducks and mari, swans. This would be a real test of our skills for us, as we would cover ourselves in mud, slide quietly into the water, and cover our hair with tanjul, the reeds, and breaststroke quietly across the water. When we got close enough, we'd reach out under the water and pull murun by the legs, and under it would go. The area of Quindalup, the place of the Quinda, that is known as Dunsborough, has a very rich history of Noongar occupation, of which my family has been a part since the beginning of time. We have been very fortunate to have been able to continue our traditions and cultural responsibilities, especially during and after European settlement.
This is just the way that we have to tell people about our culture and the stories and all the rest, and just enlighten people of how our people used to do their hunting and gathering.
Our sites are more than places that our people camped at. They are places that are alive, that our history lives on.
The waterfall around here, it's got the Dreamtime story to it. It's Nukunban and Noble. They were the two young kids. Nukunban was promised to Bunnage, and this young bloke and her, Noble, they wanted to go and be together, and it wasn't to be because she was promised bride to the old king. She had to die. And so the story is that our old uncle, his brother came in and actually speared him through the heart, and they found his body a few days later, but she came here and wailed and died here. That's the spirit of the place, is her. This is the dying place called Willianup. Tourism seems to be roads and car parks and walk trails and stuff like that, whereas we see that sort of stuff destroying the beauty of a place. I think a lot of people in general would rather be left alone and the stories told to people, how significant the places are. A few years back, I don't know if they're still there now, but there used to be graffiti all over the walls of the dying place, Willianup. I was here. Well, we've been here for a long time, and we're still here. you know. But if you keep doing things like more tourists going to the places instead of looking at them afar and enjoying the beauty of the places, well, they're not going to be here for much longer. And that's why we've got the centre and stuff down at Injun to, you know, to bring these sort of things to people's attentions. See all these ones have fallen on? Yeah. It's like all this stuff, you know, this is just vandalism, disrespect for, you know, the traditional story to this place and the significance it is to us and stuff, you know. It's also a birthing cave where the women actually came and give birth to their children in it. So all the little Kulungas were born here.
Quindalup will always be our family's budja. It provided our ancestors with all they needed, and in return they passed on to us the knowledge to protect her. This is one of the reasons we fight so hard to protect our sites.
I became involved with the Wadandi people in about 2005 when I returned to Australia after a year overseas, somewhat disillusioned with the way heritage is managed in Western Australia particularly. And we wanted to turn things around and actually ask the community what they would like to see happen and how they want to work with archaeologists and what their demands are of archaeologists themselves. And over time, you know, we worked together on various conservation projects which looked at the dual management of cultural places and the natural landscape. The combination of archaeology and oral history is a powerful medium that tells a story that really helps us recreate patterns of use and understanding the landscape. It was really the traditional owners that directed me in doing archaeology in a different way that benefited the community first and foremost, but was also very practical and on ground in terms of getting some outcomes for protecting sites.
Well, this area here is known as Kybra, which is the Junga, the spirit bird. And what we have on the ground is our motifs that our people carved into this limestone-based rock whilst it was forming. Well, what we've been trying to do is work with the various government departments through the area and try to, first of all, get a fence established for the protection of the site itself, but also what we're doing now is follow-up sprays. So we're spraying and trying to get rid of the grassed area, and which will also stop the cows from pushing the fences down and wanting to get into this area. Well, this area here is Black Point. The area that we're sitting at now is actually our tool site. Our people used to bring the rocks from the coastal areas into these dune systems, which were inland areas at the time. So for making our blades, which we would then make our darp, our knife from, which is used for skinning things like kumar and nyaran, our brush-tail and our ringtail possum, but also for skinning yonga as well to get our buka, which is our kangaroo cloak. This site here has been used by our people for many generations, and the stories have been handed down orally. The elders will tell us these stories of these places and bring us here for us to pass on to our Kulungas. There we go. Right.
Can you imagine what it feels like to stand there and imagine the smoke fires along the edge of the dense swamps, watching the women, my aunties, collect food, directing the children to catch yakan, turtle, kunak and kuyat frogs along these very edges, while the men, old uncles, sat and made their tools and showed the younger boys how to make kailis and gidgis, boomerangs and spears. Of course, the swamplands of Quindalup, Dunsborough and many other rivers and wetlands passed down through all the generations have disappeared. along with most of the flora and fauna that my family grew up with. Somehow the stories about the swamps of Quintalup are now known as Dunsborough Lakes. The Quintalup area is a place that has given us the strength and knowledge and has lived on to this day and will live on through our Kulungas for many more generations. Our family still remains despite the pressures and changes to the landscape. We will survive through many more as we strive to protect Noongar Budjera. Something that we cannot own, it shall always own us, and we shall always try to do what we were born to do, that is look after the land, and in return the land shall look after us.